Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today. Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
Well, all right. Welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast, Kevin and Chuck. Today, we're going to talk about, well, physical fitness for the apocalypse. Basically, you know, you always see, you hear about the winter storms and people go out and shovel and they drop dead of the heart attack in the driveway, or, you know, whatever comes up and it's first time they're ever out walking. They walk a half mile up the road and that's too much for them. You know, I think some of you guys remember, like if you're not really in shape, if you go and you know, you carry a stove up 3 flights of stairs, all of a sudden you're out of breath, you know? And
what's
honestly,
that all about?
Honestly, you shouldn't be. That's the bottom line. But it's weird because it doesn't take too long to get kind of your heart health, you know, up in a higher level. You don't need to necessarily see the outside change, you know, on your physical body to really start to get some of those improvements. You know, I notice when I go running, when I start running or stop running, if I do it for 2 weeks in a row, I'm like a world ahead of where I was, you know, and I maybe lost 2 pounds, 3 pounds or something doing that, but it's a big difference in how you are. Well, that's kind of what, you know, these extra stresses are what happens in the apocalypse. So now that we have Kevin back with us, Kevin, what do you think?
Well, I think that I was as Darren Taylor suggested, I was in prison.
Well, it's a rough weekend for you.
Yeah,
you know?
He did send some money to my canteen though, so I was able to buy some cookies and get some bitches. But I mean, back out now, so back in business.
Yeah. And the ATF wasn't involved in this.
We're not going to talk about it.
Okay, fair enough.
Get going on to the next thing. Now, physical fitness. General Patton from World War II, I'm sure most of you guys know who I'm talking about. He had a requirement with his soldiers that they could all run a mile in 10 minutes.
All right, that sounds reasonable.
Even him himself. And that was because if you could move an entire army a mile in 10 minutes, that would keep the enemy, you know, on their toes.
Okay.
So, I mean, really, you know, different ages and different categories, you know, everybody's got their own fitness level. You know, If you're 65, you're already at a different level than somebody that's at 25, you know? So, I mean, it's really a lot to do with keeping up with yourself, you know?
So general maintenance. And that's the thing is, like, once you start to let things go, you know, I always heard when I was younger that if you start working out, it usually takes, like, if you spend a year building it up, it usually takes 2 years to go back down to that same level. If you go back to the same, you know, fitness, you know, same diet and whatever as you were post working out, you know, it's supposed to buy you a little extra, but it does go away, you know, if you start slacking off.
Mm-hmm.
And Now, why do you think it matters? Like, what do you think it's going to make a difference when you're, what are the changes that happen after, once we become a little more self-reliant, if you will?
Well, I mean, there's going to be a big difference, isn't there, as far as the amount of physical labor you're going to have to do. When the electricity isn't doing all your work for you, you're going to have your hands full. And if you feel like shit, you look like shit, nobody wants to have sex with you either.
And that right there, then why do you don't even have the motivation to live,
Yeah, what's the point? Why
even go on? So that's definitely something to take into account, and the ladies, they're all looking for, the strong strapping guy, in the apocalypse. So
yeah. And I just read a news article the other day that said something about how women prefer dad bods. That is total horseshit.
That's bullshit. Yeah.
That is completely made up. Whoever wrote that article was just trying to make people feel good. Yeah. Nobody wants a dad bod.
No.
No,
I think what you're saying is accurate. I can't imagine a woman being out there like, yeah, you know what I really want? Somebody with a beer belly. Yep. I want somebody who's soft and lazy.
Yeah. Now I've got, a basic rule of thumb that I think that we could all go by is just trying to get in 30 minutes of an elevated heart rate every day.
Okay.
So whether that's running, walking, jogging, whatever your fitness levels at, don't kill yourself. Especially the first week. If you haven't been working out, don't go balls out right off the bat. Work your way into it. When it comes to lifting weight and things like that, it's important to have your rest days. But when you're just getting started, take it easy. There's nothing wrong with that.
Maybe start out with a hike or two, hit the trail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, one of our listeners sent us an email asking us to do an episode on fitness, and what he was talking about was he wanted to kind of get an idea what the fitness was of the enemy. He was talking about the Viet Cong for one. They were and
he's
they
afraid they're going to rise up again. Is that what is going on?
Well, he wanted to know what what kinds of things they were getting into, and I did a little bit of research into it, and they focused most of their fitness on hiking with packs on.
Okay.
Now that makes sense if you're involved in jungle warfare. You have to be self-sustaining, self-reliant. You have to be able to carry everything with you. And I think that's really a basic. It's a good idea for anybody that's a prepper. Doing long hikes with a heavy load.
That sounds right. I mean, being able to move and carry some gear. I mean, that's the thing. And you assume you go off, you're heading out to the woods or whatever, scenarios might play out. Maybe your house is overrun and you guys have to take off. Well, not only do you have to worry about yourself, but now you're carrying gear. Maybe you have family members. Mm-hmm. And, your little kids and whatever aren't going to be able to carry any significant gear. And even so, you're going to want to have everybody moving quickly. And,
right.
Self-reliance, having yourself at a certain fitness level is going to, really be the difference in life and death, And I honestly think, heart attacks and that kind of thing are really going to take a toll if people are suddenly thrust into things. I think it's that sudden stress, that change in your routine, that really does people in. They say that the highest heart attack day of the year is Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. And you're most likely to have a heart attack, I think, Christmas Eve at 10 o'clock at night is when it happens. And, that kind of thing, it's because it's stress and it's change. And honestly, probably people's diets go to crap at but, is your diet going to go to crap in the apocalypse, Mm-hmm. I don't know. But it's definitely going to be stress. And these are the kind of things that, trigger change. And, as a prepper, it's kind of our duty to, our mission to, prepare a little bit and plan for things. And guess what? being the fat lazy guy, everybody's like, well, I got my AR-15 and I'm just going to sit on the couch and shoot out the window. Well, what about when you got to be working the farm all day and then you're doing watch for 5 hours a night because you don't have enough people to, man things? Well, that's going to put stress on your body and that's going to tax you. So you had some kind of guidelines on maybe how we could get into shape?
Yeah, now I want to go over some basic stuff that we can all do at home without joining a gym. Obviously going for 30 minutes of aerobic exercise every day is a plus.
Yeah.
But I've got a little routine here. Starting with lunges. What a lunge is, you have your 2 feet, one in front of the other, and you're basically dipping with one leg, bringing your front thigh down to like a parallel with the ground, and then back up. You're going to do that with each leg, 10 times is a good place to start with that. Now, next one is push-ups. Push-ups are pretty basic. Everybody knows how to do a push-up. Keep your form straight. You're really working your chest and your triceps there. Now, I knew a guy from prison, and
who you met over the weekend.
He said that he did 500 push-ups every day.
All right.
When he was in prison. And this guy was maybe 65 when I met him, and he was yoked. And the food is not great there. You're not getting a lot of protein, but putting in the effort really does it. Now, what he told me was that before he worked out, he would always start with squats. He said that it increases your testosterone. I don't know if that's bullshit. I've heard it a couple of different places. Maybe it's made up, but squats are good for your butt. Everybody wants a good butt.
Yeah,
right?
The butt's the key.
The butt's the key. Women love the butt. Men love women's butts. Everybody got to do squats. Got to keep it tight.
All right.
Now, next set after the squats is I like to do the 8-count bodybuilders. Do you remember, Chuck? Do you remember 8-count bodybuilders? Did you do those when you were in boot camp?
I think I do.
Now you squat down, that's 1. Kick your feet out, that's 2. Do a push-up, that's 3. And 4, coming back up. 5 is pulling your legs back in. 6, standing up. Jumping jack, that's 7. Back down, that's 8. And that's your 8-count bodybuilder.
All right.
Now, I like to do 10 of those. It's you can
get
do those
your blood
all day.
moving.
You'll really get a good exercise doing that. Now you also want to work on your core. That's an important part. Keeping everything together. So you do the side planks. You know what that is? That's where you you kick your legs out and you lay on one arm. So your body is parallel or in a diagonal to the ground there, and you let your butt sink down and touch the ground and then back up.
All right.
You do that on each side to get your sides in business, and then you do the sit-ups. Now, I like to do crunches, but crunches are more subjective, whether you're doing a crunch or not. A sit-up, when you did a sit-up, all the way down and all the way back up. So, I mean, that's really, that's really pretty.
Yeah, but if you're feeling the tightness in a crunch, but there's definitely some cheating potential.
There's cheating potential.
But who's going to waste their time with cheating,
Right,
I mean, just don't bother. So just don't. Just go back to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So that's my basic routine. Now, when I was in the Navy, I used to, when I was stationed with the Seabees, they are crazy about fitness.
All right.
So we would start with a stretch routine. Then we go through the whole, basically the whole set out that I just went through. And then we'd top it off with a 4 or 5 mile run. Now, I don't know if I could do a 4 or 5 mile run every day without being sore for a couple of weeks. But, we all have to start off, where you're at. If you're doing a 4 or 5 mile run every day, that's great, man. I don't have anything to tell you.
Well, I think cardio, really comes in to key. I mean, that's where, you see the SEALs and the everybody kind of just really focus on the cardio. Once you got, you see them working out and, the big arms and all that, but the huge amount of effort is on cardio activity, and usually running.
Right.
Cause that's something that, I did the like search and rescue swimmer test, and it's the same for BUD/S or, all these things. When you want to get into the program, they have you do, you'll go out and you'll do, you'll first, oh man, it's been 20 years, I think, since I did the test. So I'm trying to piece it all together. But I think the way it was when I did it was you do a 1.5 mile run, and that doesn't sound so bad. And then they have you, well, in our case, it was do the 1.5 mile run, then run over to where we do the pull-ups, which was like another 0.5 mile. Mm-hmm. And you had to do, I think, a minimum of 8 pull-ups. Mm-hmm. And so I'm the tough guy, and I do, like 16 or something because I want to be cool, right? And then you had to do like a minimum of 60 push-ups, which you're like, oh, that's nothing, because this is all back to back though, right? So you're like, oh, 60, no problem. So I do the 100 push-ups because I'm an idiot. And then you have to swim like 1.5 miles or something like that. Well, that's the problem. So you go do that last. So you have to run over to the pool and go hit that. So I jump in the water, and I'm thinking I'm cool because I did all those push-ups and pull-ups and had to, show off and be the jackass. And then I get in the water, and I can barely lift my arms out of the freaking water to do, freestyle there. And obviously it's all timed, And yeah, my arms were just done. I think I made it within 2 seconds at the very end. And I mean, that's how close it was with the swim, because I had to be cocky and stupid with one. But I guess my point, and the reason I bring up the story, is that when you do the back-to-back, it's that stamina that does you in. It's, one, being smart enough to pace yourself, and then 2, being, able to, plan out to sustain. You're pacing yourself, but also having the stamina that you're going to be able to follow through. And, they always say, when it comes to fighting and that kind of thing, it's the guys who can keep going. A lot of the big guys who you look and they're really muscular, and they're great if they can win a fight in the first minute and a half. But if you go 3 minutes of swinging, it takes a toll. You're winded. Right. You don't, I mean, I know when I went out to Texas, and I'm beating on a guy who's, well, one, he was like twice my size, but 2, he was, 15 years younger and a little bit healthier. Well, quite a bit healthier. And I'm throwing punches after 2 minutes, and my arms are like nothing. I feel like, when right out of the gate, it would be hitting it like a third of the power, is what I'm throwing at 3 minutes in and 4 minutes in to really, going. And that stuff, it's amazing how much it takes a toll. So you guys really gotta, kind of get used to it and understand what happens to your body, once you really commit. And
right now, I think a good gauge of what you might need in a prepper situation, in a survival situation, is a pentathlon. Now that was designed basically as an officer in the military carrying a message from one place to another on his horse, being attacked.
Obviously.
So it starts off with horse riding and target shoot off the horse. Then off the horse, you have to escape by swimming across a river. So there's a swim in it. And then after that is a run, and another chute. So, doing a setup like that, it's almost like an Ironman competition there with shooting involved in it. And I think that's a pretty I haven't done one, so I think that's a pretty good setup there though to cover all your bases.
Now you want to work some kind of archery into this? I mean, are we,
Well, it used to be instead of target shooting, it used to be fencing. They would start with a fencing match. But I don't know. I don't know anything about fencing. I'd get my ass stabbed if I tried to play with that.
Yeah, that sounds like a dangerous road, Well, I mean, there's also a lot of ways, they say if you do something for 3 weeks, it starts to become a routine and a habit. We see a lot of guys, that guy, Chip Gaines from Fixer Upper, got into running marathons or maybe half marathons after the show, and he's like, yeah, I just wanted to do something. And once you get into that routine, you're able to, build something up. So looking at things like they have those Spartan races, something like that, it gives you a set goal. I know some of you guys do that Murph challenge that they do once a year. Setting a goal and a target for yourself and starting to really get into that fitness routine can really make a big difference.
Right. And that's a big part of it, is getting that routine started.
And have a purpose that's going to hold you accountable, and that's why these races are a goal, setting up to do a marathon or something like that, because it has an end goal where you're going to be held to account. Yeah, it's maybe just with yourself. Maybe your friends are going to come out and cheer you on or like that. I got a guy I just started working with, and it's funny. You look at him and he's just seems like a pretty skinny average guy. And then we were out getting uniforms and stuff. And I was like, oh, you got the 6-pack, you got it going on there. And then we're talking and then I was looking and I was like, gee, your arms are a little bit, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, well, that show American Ninja Warrior, I've been training to do that. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, And I guess he's done a couple of qualifying things they do and whatever. And he's showing me the video on his phone. So it's pretty cool. I was like, that's pretty neat. But the idea is you just want to find something that connects with you and something that you can stick to. Maybe you're not able to do that, but you're like, but you know what? I could go for a walk for, 2 miles a day. Well, one, that's going to change your level right there. Now, I'd rather see it be, running for 3 miles a day or, even step it up to maybe 5. But, there needs to be something that's going to hold you accountable, that's going to keep you doing it and keep you motivated. And that's really going to be the key to attaining, a new level of fitness for you.
Mm-hmm. Right. And, I just a side note, if you walk 2 miles a day and you run 2 miles a day, you're building the same amount of muscle. But what you're not getting is that cardio when you're doing the walk.
For your heart and the sustaining, stamina, basically.
And, biologists are saying that every animal in the animal kingdom, including people, have the same amount of heartbeats. So, like, if you listen to your dog's heartbeat, it goes a lot faster because they have a shorter life.
It does go a lot faster. Is that what you're going with? No, I asked my doctor that because I have the higher pulse rate a lot of the time. Even when I was young and 18 and joined the Navy, they were always trying to get my heartbeat under like 100 beats a minute or whatever. And I was like, does that mean I'm going to live shorter because I only get so many? And they were like, no, that's not the case at all. And now you're telling me that.
I'm telling you they were wrong.
They were wrong. I'm going to die any day now.
Now you think, why should I do cardio stuff? Because it's just going to increase the amount of heartbeats I have. But if you do cardio, it's going to
kill me.
It's going to lower your heart,
resting
heart rate, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, none of that really means anything. I'm just an interesting thing I learned.
Well, now I'm a little scared. I'm going to go cry a little bit,
That's all right. What are you going to do? Now, I think that a lot of guys have a hard time getting that routine started.
Definitely.
And really, you have to motivate yourself. Nobody can make you get up and do that shit.
You gotta do watching Rocky.
Yeah, listen to, I like to listen to Rob Zombie when I run, keep me pumped. A lot of people don't listen to music at all when they run, and they have to just be alone with their thoughts. Now, that's terrifying.
That's horrible. That is the most terrifying event that could ever happen.
Yeah, a lot of people think that listening to music is cheating, but I mean, anything, whatever it is that gets you moving, man.
Yeah, no, there's no cheating when it comes to putting in the time and doing the workout. But definitely the consistency, and you can't give yourself an out. You can't be like, well, today it's kind of crappy weather, it's really cold, or, oh, it's raining, it's sprinkling a little bit, I can't do it. You need to make a decision to do it. I know with me, I mean, maybe everybody's discipline level is different, but I know if you've been down this road and you've fallen off the wagon before, then maybe you should try something different. And the try something different is you have to decide, you know what, I'm going to get up and work out at whatever time. Or when I come home from work, the first thing I'm going to do is this. And you can't let anything get in the way. And if you're like, well, what about my kid's school thing is this day? Well, then maybe you get up early that morning and you do it. But you have to make a decision to every single day do it. And as soon as you start allowing excuses or, I'm going to start next week. I'm going to start on Tuesday. I'm going to, I'm really tired now. And it's not going to make a difference if I start a little bit later or, the next day or whatever. As soon as you cut the corners, it's over. And especially when you're in that first 3 weeks of building it up and getting into the routine. But it's the same thing. Once you start allowing the out, even if you're 6 months in, as soon as you start taking breaks and, I'm on vacation, so I don't need to go running or I can eat crap, that's when you get into that dangerous ground. So make a decision and decide, it's something you want to do. And this is something you can do for yourself without spending money. And that's the beauty of it. There is so much you can do with your own body weight resistance that you don't need to spend money to get healthy. You don't need to be in the right location or the right climate. Put on that extra coat and get out there.
Right. And I know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the king of fitness, was talking about that. And he said he always runs into people that said they just don't have time to exercise. They don't have time.
But you make the time.
Yeah, if that's your problem, he said sleep faster. You just have to sleep.
Nice. I like it.
But I mean, it's really, we can all make time. We all have a half hour, an hour where we sit and watch some bullshit on Netflix or some bullshit cable TV. Skip the news. There's nothing good on there anyway. It's just going to give you more stress.
And it's going to be the same crap on there tomorrow, right?
Right.
So, there's so many opportunities that, it's just laziness that's getting us into trouble. And you just have to make a decision that that's what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And if you're serious about it, but I think really, one, if you have somebody getting together with, I mean, man, if you go to your friend and say, hey, let's do this Spartan race coming up in 6 months or whatever, even if you have to go out of town to do it or whatever, but honestly, they seem to hit a lot of areas. There's a lot of them available to you. But you know what, if you have to travel and your spouse will be happy that you put in the workout,
Right. And I got my Spartan medals hanging up somewhere of races I ran, and they're a lot of fun. They are. You get to hang out with a lot of like-minded people. Anytime you do some sort of exertion of energy, it comes back. It pays you back.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't think it's worth it. They don't have time. They're honestly, it's going to make more time for you.
Yes. And the way you feel, it's going to pay off.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's pretty much what I got on it. I mean, the bottom line, if you're serious about self-reliance, then fitness is really a key. It's something that's going to make a difference. It's going to help you, be able to sustain, to be able to take care of the ones you love. You're going to be able to stand the watch and do the things you need to do. And your body's going to be able to handle the little extra effort that's put forth,
Right.
Without you having a heart attack. So just something to think about.
And when you're going to the gym or you're lifting weights in your basement or wherever you have your setup and you're thinking, I just don't have enough money to buy all those protein bars and those protein shakes and all that bullshit. You know what's really cheap? Raw eggs. Drink them like Rocky.
Oh, now you're talking.
Dude, I hit those myself.
Eggs, beans, cheap.
It's disgusting, but I mean, what are you going to do?
And if you're not even willing to spend the money on the food and whatever, if you're serious about the working out and the running, then just skip the French fries and the chips. Eat what you were eating and go without the extras, and you'll get where you want to be if you're really doing the workouts, know?
Yeah, nobody needs to. And, a
protein shake in the morning helps. I'm not saying that that's a bad idea. I'm just saying start where you can.
I always gave my wife shit because she was going on these diets, and for some reason they're always fucking expensive. Yeah, I don't understand how a diet's expensive. You're eating less shit. Just eat less shit. That's a diet.
People are like, "Oh, how'd you lose weight?" And I'm like, "Oh, eat less and move around more." Oh, you're a dick. Well, no, that's really what you got to do.
It. That's the whole thing. There's all sorts of little tricks you can learn, but really, that's it. Eat less and move around more.
There you go. From the Mouse of Babes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you have it. How many sodas do you have? I'm not talking to all of you. I'm talking to some of you. How many sodas do you have every day? It ain't good for you. Switch to water. Oh, I don't like the taste of water. It's water. How do you not like the taste of water? It's water. Stop being so fucking greedy. You need sugar in every drink you drink.
Oh, now you're bringing the sadness. Come on. They got a water cooler at work. Come on, work with me.
Yeah, it comes right out of the tap. It's free.
It's free. You don't even have to pay for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you live in Michigan or like 30 other cities, Detroit and wherever, but Flint, wherever, it's usually reasonably healthy.
Yeah. And everybody says that their water in their town is shitty. That's just because you don't like water.
Yeah.
Or if you feel like you have to, you can spend that extra $3 for a bottle of Fiji water.
There you go. Now we're talking.
That there's less arsenic in your tap water than there is in Fiji water. Just putting that out there.
All right. Something to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're killing me. So, anything going on in the world? We're good?
Yeah, no, I just was reading that a 72-year-old woman just had her first twins.
Nice.
They've been trying. She's the oldest woman to ever give birth. They've been trying for 50 years.
Obviously.
Her husband was a little bit older, but they took his old-ass sperm and fertilized an egg and put it in her, and she gave birth to twins by C-section over in India. But, India, they're always doing crazy shit like that.
Crazy shit.
So, I don't know. I mean, you're going to be 90 by the time the kid's 18, but whatever.
Yep.
I mean, do your own thing.
Teach his own, right?
That's right. I'm 38 and I'm my kid's 16 and I'm happy about it. Moving on in life. That's
I started young and I'm ready to have him gone. Youngest is 19. We're moving him out.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely the way things need to be. We got to move in the right direction.
Right.
More money for guns, more money for, for mom and dad alone time.
Alone time. That's the important part.
Time to review the water bill or whatever it is parents do these days,
Uh-huh.
Not bad. No, with that, you guys know about TacPack? We have a sponsor on this show, TacPack. They have cool tactical gear that basically for, I think it's $49.95 a month. They have a subscription and they'll mail cool, like usually AR-15 related, sporting tactical gear, I would say. Sometimes knives. I would say if you're not an AR-15 guy, it's probably not going to be up your alley. But if you're into guns and cool things that you didn't know about, accessorizing and expanding, TacPack may be right for you. And if you use the code BADASS, you may just get some cool free shit sent along with it. And they will hook you up. So maybe something you might want to look into. And with that, stay safe, and we will talk to you guys next week.
The Survival and Basic Badass Podcast is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today. Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.